Montgomery 911, where's your emergency?
Yes, 5928 West Ferry Road.
What?
It's neighborhood cash advance.
What's going on, ma'am?
We just actually got robbed. The man came in and said that he wanted a cash advance, and then he pulled out a gun. Jason Thornton.
Is he still there?
No, ma'am. He took off running. Jason Thornton, he works at the Montgomery Police Department. He was here at the moment, and he took off after him. He just ran out the door and told me to call 911.
Okay, hang on one second. Stay with me.
Yes, ma'am.
You said the cash advance?
Yes, ma'am. Neighborhood cash advance.
Yeah. Where's my bill? Thank you, Danae. Off-duty officer. What's your name, hon?
My name is Rachel Bowles, Bowles.
What's your phone number?
The phone number I'm calling you from or my cell phone?
The phone number you're calling from's fine.
819-7647.
Did you see which way the officer and the suspect went?
Yes, see, I live in Providence, so I can't. They took off from my store. Let's see, it was towards the left.
They ran left out of your store?
Yes, not towards the Burbank Road, but the opposite way.
Seen running left out of the store. What was the suspect wearing?
No, I'm sorry, I don't even know. I just knew he had sunglasses on and a hat.
What was that, hon?
He just had, I can't even tell you really. I know he had sunglasses
Black
on.
male, white male?
It was a black male.
Hello, America, and hello, everyone around the world. It's Latoya Villa-Gomez again. I wanted to play you all the tape of Rachel Bowles, who is the young lady who works for the crooked cop by the name of Jason Thornton, who owns the Cash Advance on West Ferry Road. It's called Cash Advance Neighborhood Store. Now, there's only a few important pieces that I feel that are important in this tape because I'm asking her a couple questions simply because I have already spoken to the eyewitnesses who witnessed the entire crime, which you all heard in the first tape. So I'm going to be asking her about the time. She's going to state that the robbery happened right at 6 o'clock. And the reason I feel that is so important is because they stated on record that the robbery happened at 6:46. And the reason they did that is because that's when Albert went and picked up Willie. So what the police officers did is the real robbery happened between 5:30 and 6 o'clock, which you're going to hear her say 6 o'clock, like I said. And also, the other witnesses stated around 6 o'clock, and there's other witnesses, from some of the other businesses that stated between 5:30 and 6 o'clock as well. But yet and still, they have a 911 call done around 6:46. And some kind of way, I guess, Jason made her think it's protocol for them to call 911 so they can have it on record. But what she's stating in the 911 call is that there's a robbery in progress, as if the robbery is just now happening at 6:46. And she's also crying. She sounds hysterical in the 911 call, which I'm going to play for you. And another thing that is important in this tape is that when I ask her about the robber's height, she's going to state that the robber not the robber, but the driver was the smaller one, as in height, because that's what Jason told her. So what Jason did, in order to entwine Willie some kind of way, he told her that the smaller one, as in height, because Willie is only 5'5", and Albert is 6-something feet tall. So he told her basically that Willie was the driver because he knew that once she goes to court and she sees Willie, she's going to wonder how was, you know, what was Willie's part in the supposedly, you know, robbery, which there really was no getaway car. But Jason told the neighbors next to him the truth that it wasn't no getaway car, but he led Rachel into believing that there was a getaway car and that Willie was the driver. Because we're discussing Heif when she states that the smaller one was the driver, which is what she got from Jason. And also another important piece in here I want you to notice is that she's going to state that she doesn't know how the robber looks, and that's important. That's important because she also stated that in the 911 call that she doesn't know how the robber looks. So I want you to pay attention to these pieces. I'm sorry I'm a little bit hoarse today. My voice is really getting a little bit hoarse, a little bit sick today, so you gotta kind of bear with me. I'm gonna play the tape real quick. The tape is kind of long a little bit, so I'm not gonna play the whole tape. And in this tape, I'm also throwing her off by asking her about getting a cash advance loan. So you're gonna hear me talking about a loan and hear her talking about a loan, which I'm pretty much asking her that to pretty much throw her off so she doesn't get suspicious, you know, when I'm asking about the robbery. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and play this tape for you very quickly. And here we go. 1 second.
Security letter, a valid check that matches up with your bank statement. You also need your ID and some sort of bill with your current address, like power bill, water bill, or phone bill. I heard someplace over here was robbed. Is that? Really? It was. Really? Who was robbed? Me, Jason. It was like it was just a store. Huh? It was just a store in general who was robbed. Really? I heard it happened in broad daylight. Really? I come through this area all the time. What time of the evening did that happen? Right at 6 o'clock. Right at 6 o'clock? Really? So what happened? The guy just came in broad daylight with a gun? Yeah. Are you serious? Yes, ma'am. He wasn't wearing nothing or nothing? I mean, he was wearing a hat and everything, but... So like a disguise or something. That is crazy. And I saw in the paper it was saying it was 2 guys, but people were saying it was just one. Well, it was one that came to the store, but there was a driver a few blocks away. That's what they said? They called him. It was a driver because Jason had actually chased him. And said it was a driver. Oh my God. Are you serious? Yes, ma'am. I bet you was scared to death. Yes, ma'am. Oh my God. So it was you, the one who actually got robbed? Yes, ma'am. So he came to you and just put a gun to your head and just... I've heard bits and pieces, but I don't believe the stuff that I know. I wish it happened. Right. I mean, Jason didn't try to protect you or nothing? No, he did, but there wasn't really all that much he could do at the time. Oh, okay. That's horrible. Okay, but the loan, you said you got to bring, like, stuff back in here? I just have to have all that information, and then whenever we enter it on the computer, we have to go by the Alabama State Database and by our report. And if you have a loan out somewhere else, it just depends. Because by state law, you can only have $500 out at a time. So if you have 200 out somewhere else, it'll show me that you have 300 available. And then just after entering all your information, it'll come up with a score and just let you know how much you get. Yeah, you know, I was reading the paper. One of them guys looked familiar. Which one of them was it in the paper? I don't even remember. I don't even know their names or anything. Right, but I'm saying I heard some people say he was a tall guy or something. I know the smaller one was the driver, but that's all I really... And the taller one was because I don't know how tall the other one was because I never saw the driver. Right. Because I've heard bits and pieces of it, but I like to get the actual facts from the... Okay. Some people say he was light-skinned or something. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I was just kind of in fear. I really can't even remember exactly what he even looked like. Right.
Okay, I hope I was able to catch that ending part, which I'm going to probably play over real quick. Hold on a second, just to make sure I got this piece on here. Oh, shoot. Hold on 1 second. I knew I was going to mess it up. Okay, let me replay this part because I want to make sure it's in the tape, okay?
They say he was light skinned or something, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I was just kind of in fear. I really can't even remember exactly what he looked like. Right. Okay.
Okay, I think I got that part. I played it twice, so I'm just making sure. The reason I wanted to play that part is because she stated in court that she knew exactly how he looked, as well as I'm going to let you hear the 911 tape where she states that she doesn't know how he looked as well. So that lets me know that she has been coached into saying that it was Willie. I'm also going to provide some paperwork showing where Albert also he tried to tell the police, that they told him to say that Willie did all this stuff. I'm also going to show you paperwork where Albert actually pled guilty to being the actual robber back in June, and that's in 2013. But they tried to lie like he didn't plead guilty, because I have a copy of it, which I'm going to provide. And it was signed by the judge, and he pled guilty to being the actual robber to all 4 counts. But they said, no, he pled guilty to being the driver, but yet it still has robbery first on it. And the lady at the courthouse told me he pled guilty to being an actual robber, as well as another lady told me the same thing. And not only that, but it doesn't make any sense to say that he pled guilty to being a getaway driver, because if you look at the preliminary hearing papers when this first happened, there was a court reporter that was hired by me. She recorded the entire, court session, and they say that Albert had stated that he was a getaway driver. That was the only evidence that they had, and that paper will be provided for you all to look at. So what type of sense does that make for him to say he was the getaway driver when they went to the preliminary hearing, because they were saying, that he gave a confession to being a getaway driver, is what he was claiming. So what type of sense would it make for him to wait several months and then go down, and then turn around and say, hey, wait, I was the getaway driver again? That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Apparently, these people think that we're idiots, or so I don't know what they think. I guess they think that other people are stupid because they are, because the whole thing, they left behind so much evidence where you can show the whole thing was a scam. But I know the problem is they never thought anybody would figure out this scam. They thought that people would believe them because they're the police, and that no one would question them. If they say such and such happened, people are just going to take their words for it, and they're not going to second guess. They're not going to second guess the police words because they're the police. Is what they originally thought. Actually, by August 2nd, I had already knew it was a scam, and this happened July 26th, and I figured it out within days. But I know that it was Jehovah God who played a major part in me figuring out the entire scam, because the stories just wasn't adding up. It was too much. It was just too many different stories. And everything was just getting weird by the day. So, literally within days, I knew it was a scam. And I pretty much put everything together, piece by piece in my head. And, I knew instantly it was a scam, because I even asked Willie, I said, Willie, when you were arrested, where was Albert? And he said Albert was sitting in the car, and they came and snatched him out the passenger side of the car and put a gun to his back. But the officer stated that he had a gun on Willie and Albert, and he stated that the reason he had a gun on Willie and Albert is because he didn't have any handcuffs. But yet and still in the 911 call, he claims he have one in handcuffs and one pinned down to the ground. Now, another thing I want you all to recognize is that when I was talking to the witnesses in the recording, that they stated that he was brought back in 15 minutes. Also, Rachel stated that he was brought back in 15 minutes. And that's on the tape as well. But the tape is, so long, I just don't even feel like, going through the tape and, trying to get this piece and that piece. But anyway, they caught the robber 2 streets over, basically, towards the mall, which was Albert. And remember, the lady says that he fell in the lady's yard, and that's where they caught him and brought him back to the crime scene to show the lady, look, show Rachel, look, we got the robber, to calm her down. And so basically what they did from that point on, they let Albert go to pick up Willie. And once they let him go pick up Willie, that's when they, pretty much, had Rachel do the 911 call, deceiving her to think that this is protocol, So anyway, that's pretty much the story as to how it happened. And how can you arrest the same man twice in one day for the same crime? It doesn't make any sense. How can you arrest him by the mall and then turn around and arrest him in a neighborhood that's, not like right down the street, but probably like, I guess it could take like, I don't want to give a time frame because I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But anyway, it's a completely different area. So how can you arrest a person 2 streets over and then turn around and arrest them somewhere else? That doesn't make any sense. And that's why the witnesses were saying that the robber was caught by the mall, because that's where they chased Albert to. He fell in the lady's yard, brought him back to the crime scene to show Rachel. And I also have a 911 call of the squad officer who supposedly did the arrest. But if I play the 911 call, I'm not sure if I'm going to play that. You will hear the officer states that he spots the car. Now, no other officer spotted the car because, number one, at first they didn't even say if it was an old Dodge Charger or if it was a new one. Then they finally said it was a new model, and then after a few minutes passed or so, the squad officer claims that he spots a blue Dodge Charger with rims, but nobody said the car had rims now. He claims that he spotted the car with rims and that he followed them into a neighborhood. But that's not really what happened. What really happened is once Willie and Albert bagged into the driveway, because Albert told Willie that he needed to make a stop at some guy named Greg's house. He claimed that was related to Willie. He said, I need to make a stop at our cousin Greg's house. And as soon as they bagged into the driveway, that's when the squad officer swung around the corner and immediately came to the passenger side and snatched Willie out and held him at gunpoint. So that's really what happened. People, you probably think, oh my God, this is the most craziest story. I mean, yes, it is bizarre. It's draining. As you can see, I sound drained. I'm sick as it is. And just this whole, story is just draining, but it's real. So that's what's important. I hate that Willie is having to go through this, but unfortunately, there's a lot of black men that go through this type of stuff on a regular basis, and not just black men, minorities, and even, other races experience, things like this, as far as being framed. So you don't necessarily have to just be black to experience, being abused by the system. And one thing that I have definitely noticed by experiencing this whole experience is that, getting justice is very hard. I mean, it seems like justice in this world we live in is dead. It's so easy to get injustice, but when it comes down to getting justice, it seems like it's dead in this world. I mean, believe me, I have been to every place you can think of a long time ago to get this issue resolved. And it is now 2014. So that says a lot about our justice system. It really does. And I guess I figure, the people knew what was going on, but nobody wanted to be considered as the bad guy for taking these people down. They didn't want everybody to be angry at them for, pretty much ratting on them. So everybody chose to just, act as if nothing is going on and just go about their daily lives. It's crazy. I mean, but this is the type of world we live in where people are selfish, and unfortunately, if it's not happening to them, if it's not happening to, their son or their close family member or something like that, they don't care. And that's the type of world we live in. People do not care about other people the way they should. People are literally selfish. And, to me, it's just disgusting that this whole case has gone on this long. It is really disgusting. There's so much fraud that went into this whole case. It's unbelievable, which is why I want to try to get everyone across the world to stand up against abuse of power, because unfortunately this is something that happens on a regular basis. It really is. And nothing is done about it most of the time. There's nothing done about it. And with a situation like this, you don't know who to trust, because like I said, the attorney, it was more than obvious that he was working for the other side. So, I mean, who could you trust? You don't want to run and hire somebody else to represent this case because you don't know who to trust, but at the same time, you got to trust somebody. So, but if you experience a case like this, I would say do not get anybody within that city. If you do, you better thoroughly check their background. Because unfortunately, like I said, prosecutors and judges, a lot of times, like with this case, they help the cops cover up stuff and try to get away with it sometimes. I'm not saying that, all prosecutors are bad or all judges are bad. I'm just saying that, this happens on a regular basis, and that sometimes, some judges are in on the scam to help people get away with stuff. And not just that, but, when you're going against police officers, there's several people in different places that will try to help them cover up. Or if they don't try to help them cover up, they're not going to do anything about it, but give you the runaround because they don't want to be looked at as the rat, the one who ratted them out. And sometimes, that can cause trouble for them. Sometimes they can make their lives miserable behind, ratting on them. So, I guess that's why some people are that way. But I don't know. When it comes to me, I just like to do the right thing. I just, I'm a completely different human being. What can I say? We live in a corrupt world where there's a lot of craziness that goes on a regular basis. And like I said, the world is built upon lies. it's corruption in just about, every field you could think of, not just with police officers, sometimes in the medical field. I mean, it's just in every field you can think of is some corruption going on. So I'm not just saying that only the police are corrupt. No. Yeah, and there's actually some good officers, and I'm not saying that all officers are bad. I've never said that. There's actually some officers that love being police officers and that actually try to help people. But there's so many that abuse their power, you don't be knowing who's good and who's bad and who to trust. And that's all I'm saying. So, I mean, I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea that I'm stating that everybody is bad, because I'm not saying that. But I'm also saying at the same time, there's so many people that take advantage of having a piece of power over another human being's life. It's hard for anybody to know seriously who to trust. So on that note, I'm going to end this entire conversation. If you want, I'm going to be posting more videos that's not pertaining to this issue. I'm going to post a video about where the different races come from. I'll also quote some Bible scriptures if you want me to, and things like that. Something positive besides what's going on. But I do want you all to keep Willie Larkins in your prayers. And I honestly, even though Albert did this to his own cousin, Willie has forgiven him because he's a loving person. And also Willie is very intelligent. He is. I just kind of feel like Willie, I know Willie definitely should be let go, but, possibly even Albert, because, he could have been pressured into doing this. Now, he didn't have to pick Willie for somebody with a prior record to help frame. Now that he didn't have to do. But I think Albert realizes his mistakes, and because he does realize his mistakes, I kind of feel like, it's possible that maybe he should even be released. And these cops need to be put in jail because they tried to poison Willie when this first happened. Willie's blood sugar went down, and they gave him something to eat, a snack, and they poisoned him. And I'm quite sure they probably tried to do away with those records. But there's an attorney that could be witnessed, because I actually went to check on Willie, and the attorney went to check on Willie when that incident happened. And also the night that this happened, they tried to make Willie sign a confession letter stating that he did this stuff. So Willie didn't sign it, of course, because he didn't do anything. So I guess they got upset, and, when his blood sugar went down, they decided they were going to poison him. So that's why they're trying so desperately to cover their tracks, because, number one, they could lose their job and they can do jail time. So, I mean, what do you think the police officer's punishment should be for this whole incident? And not just that, but the other two businesses that was robbed, which was the No Way Jose and the Fire Sub, they participated in this whole scam as well. There's a connection with the robberies because, of course, the robber was wearing a hat and sunglasses in every single one of these robberies. The other two robberies happened actually May 27th. They claim they happened 15 minutes apart, but if you see the distance from these two places, you'll just think it's ridiculous. But like I said, I went out with a private investigator for the No Way Jose and spoke to the guy, if you listen to the first tape, and he stated that the robber was, tall and skinny, and that he caught it on tape. And I also have a piece of paper where they accidentally told on themselves that there's a tape from the No Way Jose. The guy behind the No Way Jose at the storage place caught the robber running by, and his video surveillance is very clear. And he stated that, the police even asked him about the tape, if he had video surveillance, and he told them he did. And when they found out he had video surveillance, they threw up their hands, back, took off, got a call on their walkie-talkie out of nowhere, took off, never came back to get the tape, and he didn't understand that. he also stated that it was a SWAT team there. Not necessarily a SWAT team, but he stated that it was a squad car there, which would be the same officer who just so happened supposedly to be in the area of July 26th. Now, I don't know about you all, but doesn't that seem pretty suspicious that an officer way from May 27 of 2012 was up on the scene for the No Way Jose, and then he just so happened to be in the area when the 911 call went out, and he's the one who spotted the vehicle. Now, how convenient was that? And when it comes to the fire sub, you cannot see the robber's face. You can't see his face, of course, because the guy in the tape is not Mr. Larkins, which is why they didn't want you to see his face. Not to mention the tape has no date on it. So, and like I told you, the tape that they played in court wasn't even their first original evidence of discovery tape. They played a whole different tape for court with a guy wearing a different shirt, a black and white striped shirt, as a matter of fact, is what they played in court. But their original evidence of discovery, the guy is wearing a yellow shirt, which is what they stated on public records, that the robber was wearing a yellow shirt. And the reason they switched the evidence of discovery is because, like I said, the guy didn't fit Willie's physique. So they thought about it and they realized, hey, you know, his body build doesn't necessarily fit Willie's physique. You know, so we got to go back and, you know, do some more scandalous stuff. So pretty much that's what they did. And, you know, any members of the jury could be witness to that it was a guy in a black and white shirt. I don't think they was necessarily paying attention when they kept stating that the guy was wearing a yellow shirt. So anyway, like I said, you know, even when it came to the trial, I told you that the judge asked one of the jurors, you know, hey, that one of y'all got to go pick up your grandchild, and the lady raised her hand, and he says he's going to give them 15 minutes to go back and deliberate on 4 counts of first degree. That seems suspicious to me because I've never heard of a jury deliberating for only 15 minutes, especially on 4 counts and reaching a verdict. That's unheard of. And then he said, if you don't reach a verdict in 15 minutes, I'm going to carry this over until tomorrow. And so, like I said, the next morning, they deliberated for about 45 minutes, 40 or 45 minutes at the most on 4 counts. That short period of time, you ain't had time to look at no evidence or nothing. And like I told you, one of the jurors came out shaking her head, and she was looking at me like she didn't agree what was about to happen. And even when Mr. Larkins called, I asked him, did he notice one of the jurors was shaking her head like she did not agree. And he asked me, you know, was it the shorter one? And I said, yes. And he said she was also looking at him, shaking her head like she didn't agree. And like I said, when they read the verdict, only one lady read it. And after that, they didn't pass it around to, you know, to see who said guilty and, you know, and stuff like that. They only had one lady just read guilty, and that's it. The attorney never requested for it to be passed around individually, nothing. So, I mean, you tell me what you think. And like I said, I'll be posting more videos in the future. Thank you for listening. I know I talked a whole lot. A lot of you all are probably really confused, but my main point is I just wanted you all to see that, you know, this whole thing was a scam and that there's an innocent man suffering for something he didn't do. And I just kind of feel like we need to take a stand against abuse of power. Thank you.